We are in Sherburne, so just down 80 here. About a half hour, well, 45 minutes from here, actually. So we are owned and operated, or I should use this one. How does this sound? Better. Okay, good. We're owned and operated by the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, and we're one of 4 environmental education centers in the state. We're in Chenango County in Sherburne. There's Rhinestone Woods Nature Preserve out in Depew near Buffalo. There's 5 Rivers Environmental Ed Center in Delmar, and there's Stony Hill Farm down in Dutchess County. And we're, like I said, we're environmental education centers. So our focus is to bring environmental education to adults, to children, to people of all ages. And we do that through various programs like this. We have multiple groups come to us, a lot of school groups, youth groups, YMCA groups, senior groups visit us, and we do guide day visits with them. We do a mammals program, a pond ecology program, a bird program, you name it, we provide it. So we're very busy doing our work there, and we all enjoy what we do. So I'm happy to be here tonight. Thank you to Chuck for inviting me to come here. All right, so tonight we're going to talk about bats. And I'm happy to answer any questions. I hope I can answer all your questions. I am not a bat expert, but I have a piece of paper here and a pencil, and I'm happy to write down any questions that I can't answer, and I can look them up and get back to you. But I'm going to know everything you ask me, so. All right, so bats are very misunderstood. They're feared by many people. Some people find them completely repulsive. But they're very beneficial animals to humans and to other animals. They're the only mammal that truly flies. So a lot of you have heard of a flying squirrel before. Flying squirrels don't actually fly, they glide. And flying squirrels, if I were to spread like this, flying squirrels have a flap of skin starting here, connecting down to their ankles. And so what they'll climb up to a higher point and they'll spread out and they'll glide down to the lowest lower elevation. But bats actually fly. They have wings, and they're not flying mice. They're not rodents by any means. They're mammals. So they're more closely related to primates and humans than they are rodents. They're mammals, so they're warm-blooded. They nurse their young. They're covered with fur. And they have live birth versus born in eggs. They breed in the fall, and the female actually stores sperm in her body and then self-fertilizes in the springtime. And one pup, a baby bat, is called a pup, is born every year. Sometimes she'll have twins, but that's a rare occasion. And they're born completely naked, but within a month they have fur and they're able to hunt on their own. Let's see, they're flying within 1 month. They don't build nests, so they form nursery roosts with other females in the area. And so the bats that we have in New York State, there are 9 species of bats in New York State, 9 different species. 3 of them are tree bats, 6 of them are cave bats. So in the nurseries, the nursery roosts, they can be under loose bark. It can be under bridges, it can be in the eaves of buildings, it can be in hollow trees. So you can have several females together and they all help out taking care of the young. Of course, the female does know which young is hers, but they do help out each other out. Let's see, so like I said, their wing structure is very similar to a human hand. And I'm not sure, I have a picture here, and I also have an actual skeleton. But they do have a thumb, this point right here, and they have 4 fingers. And so these long structures, supporting their wings are actually fingers. And they do have somewhat of a leathery, thin membrane that is their wings. They roost in bat colonies, you probably have heard of, and 1 or 2 is somewhat rare. They want to roost together. They roost very tight together. I brought a bat house here. This house Actually, it has got the single sled up there. This is designed to house 75 to 100 bats in this small area here. They want to be very close together, very tight together, and very warm. So the key to attracting bats in your bat house is to have it warm, hot in fact, from 85 degrees to 90 degrees is what they prefer. So, let's see. They're nocturnal, you all know that. They're feeding at night and they're sleeping during the day. And the term blind as a bat is very inaccurate. They have great eyesight. However, they do rely on their sense of hearing for locating prey and insects in the nighttime. They actually have the best sense of hearing for any land mammal. And they use echolocation, and that is basically they're sending off high-pitched sound waves, and they're sending them out, and then they receive the sound wave back. Depending on the pitch and the intensity of it, they can determine the size, the location, and the shape of the object it's bouncing back. So it's kind of like an echo. If we were to go into this room and echo, we would hear our echo back. They're hearing the sound waves come back, and they can, if it's a very, high-pitched and quick response, they can determine a lot from that. And they'll either move from it if it's an object or, a larger predator, like an owl or a snake or a raccoon, or they'll go for it if it's a smaller insect or bug. Let's see, the bats that we have around here are insectivores, or insect eating, and the little brown bat is the most common bat we have in New York State, and they can eat about 5,000 bats an evening. So bats, typically they can eat 30 to 50% of their body weight in mosquitoes and insects a night. The big brown bat can eat up to 10,000 insects in one evening, so very impressive. Other bats, this is worldwide, they're eating fruit, they're eating nectar, they're eating frogs, snakes, some bats can eat fish, and there are vampire bats. And vampire bats, of course, aren't preying on humans. They're going for other mammals. Usually vampire bats prey on cattle where they're available, or horses, larger mammals, and they're just sucking blood. They only drink about an ounce at a time, or an ounce an evening. So it's not a whole lot that they're actually drinking. And of course, as temperatures drop and the insect populations around here start to decrease, some of the bats are migrating, others are hibernating. And around here, the little brown bat and the big brown bat are true hibernators. And they're going, like I said, the cave bats are the ones that stay up here to hide in the northern, in this area anyway, to hibernate. Whereas the tree bats, as I mentioned, that's the red bat, the hoary bat, and the silver-haired bat. They're migrating down south to find, again, trees, bark, loose bark, under bridges, people's homes. So, let's see. So the most common is a little brown bat. Rabies is a big concern with bats. It shouldn't be, though. Again, they have a bad reputation with this. 0.5% bats test positive for rabies. That's an extremely low number. You're far likely to encounter rabies with skunks, fox, raccoons. Unfortunately, that just kind of fell on bats. I'm not sure why people think that, but very small percentage. So, white nose syndrome, you've probably heard or been hearing a lot about that. Back in the winter of 2006 in Howe's Caves near Albany, biologists discovered that there were a lot of vacancies in the caves where they had been, heavily populated with bats. And they discovered vacancies, and a few of the caves were littered with dead bats on the ground. So further research found that the white nose fungus, it's a cold-loving fungus. It covers their nose and their muzzles, and eventually spreads to their wings and to their ears. And what it does is it causes the bats to wake up early out of hibernation. So bats that were hibernating who would typically emerge in mid-March, early April, were waking in February. And of course, they were waking, there was no food availability, and they were starving. So they would find a lot of the carcasses, emaciated carcasses, that starved to death. So they're still not exactly sure what the cause is. I know DEC biologists are working hard on that. I did hear this morning that they're working on vaccines, and how they would administer that, I'm not exactly sure, but that's the latest going on. So I can't speak too much more about that. But I did mention the house here. We want to encourage bats. You know, number one, it's your guaranteed show every warm evening. You can see the bats come out and control your insect population that you might have. And it's also to provide habitat. And if you do have bats in your house, this is an alternative location for them. You know, that you can put this up and hopefully they'll find it and they'll leave your house and come into this crevice here. So a way to get bats out of your house, if they're, you know, say this is the side of your house here and the eaves coming off, you want to find where they're coming out. Not necessarily in the eave, but where they're coming out, and you want to hang a piece of fabric. You can staple it or nail it in here, so the bats can come out, but they can't get back in. They can push out the fabric, but they can't, you know, go under it and get back in it. So that's a tried and true way that does work. So hopefully I explained that okay. Let's see, what else can I tell you about? Any questions from you about any of the bats around here, or, yeah?
Now, their manure is called guano.
Yep.
Okay, how dangerous is that?
It can be a problem if there's a quantity of it building up in your attic. If you inhale it, it can cause respiratory problems. If you know bats are roosting in the area in your attic, you just want to clean it out as soon as you can. I mean, a big buildup is what's going to cause, significant buildup is what's going to cause an issue. But if you do know you have them, you want to clean it out as soon as you can.
Okay, now if it's been there for like 3 years, is it still just as dangerous?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. I don't want to tell you yes or no because I don't want to make sure guess.
Okay, because she was just saying that if it's drying out and become more powdery, then that could be more dangerous that way.
Okay. Stir it up in the air more? Is that what your thoughts are? Yeah.
Try and clean it up.
I would, as soon as you can. Yep. Questions?
Did that white nose disease affect cave and tree bats? Or?
It did. Yep. Yep. So the ones affected here were the Indiana bat, the big brown bat, and the little brown bat. So yeah, it's about 100,000 of them were affected by it. So.
2 questions. The first one, if they like warm spots, why are they hibernating in caves, which typically are cooler?
If the bats like the warm spots?
Yeah.
Well, the caves, I read the temperatures. They're warmer, I guess, than you would think. For hibernating purposes, when an animal hibernates, their metabolic rate slows down. So their heart rate slows down, their breathing rate slows down, and you know they can survive conditions where they typically wouldn't. So the caves I think are about 40 to 50 degrees.
52, they told us last week, 52.
Okay, and they're very very humid though, so that's they're preferring these conditions. So.
And where and how do you mount a bat?
Yep. You want to mount this up in a tree that receives a lot of sunlight. You can put hooks on this here and nail it into a tree.
Okay. It has to be stabilized. I mean, it's not, you would have it firmly against the tree.
Mm-hmm. Yep. To go back to your question, no, it did not affect the tree bats, just the cave bats. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the caves, those in the caves, it was found in because the fungus grows well in the cave. that's why,
Oh.
just the cave bats. Yeah.
So have we got any caves around
I have a map in New York State. You could come on up to see this at some point. But I don't know directly in this area here, but the map shows confirmed cases of the white nose syndrome in caves. So not directly around here, there are any confirmed cases, but it looks just north of us, maybe Oneida County. But there are caves around, and not necessarily big giant caves. It can just be,
crevices
yeah, exactly, crevices, and not necessarily that a human would fit in, but just rock crevices that create it. So.
So the more bat houses we could put up, the better we would be as far as general bat population, just 3 months would go in there, right?
Well, during the summer months, the cave bats do use tree houses,
They
do
do?
use the bat boxes. Yep, it's just they're cave bats just in the wintertime. They're using the caves for hibernation. Yep, that's a good point. So in the summertime, you'll see all the bats flitting around and using bat houses and using loose bark. But in the wintertime, the tree bats are migrating south, and some of the cave bats are going into the caves to hibernate. So, yeah, you bet.
Do all of the bat species, are all of the bat species affected by this fungus in New York State or all over the country or all over the world? Is it a plague all over the world for the bats, or is it localized?
Well, so far it's just in the Northeast, and well, I shouldn't say that, and spreading. It started in the Northeast. So it was first discovered in New York, and then Vermont, Connecticut, and Maine. And since then, 2009, 2010, it looks like it's spreading south, and even into some of the like Tennessee and Kentucky area. So, and it is in Europe as well, but for some reason the bats in Europe are not affected by it. So if they've evolved some resistance with it, but they're not showing any decline over there with this fungus. So I believe it's new to this country here. So we brought it over, and it's since 2006 been affecting the bats here in the Northeast. Yeah.
Do they migrate like birds and flocks? If so, doesn't that make it hard for them to find food in transit? Or are they individual migrators? How does that work?
I know. I would think individually. I mean, they don't flock together. I don't know. I don't want to tell you yes or no because I don't already answer your question. I don't know. Yeah.
Are they impacted in any way by the wind towers, the windmills?
And not so much bats like birds are. So we hear a lot of that with birds. For some reason, not so much bats. Maybe their echolocation, they're able to sense that and stay far from it. So, yeah.
You mentioned that an average evening, a bat can consume 10,000 insects, is that correct? Is that just for one species, or is that for?
That is the big brown bat.
Right.
Yep, and the little brown bat about 5,000.
Because when we do see them, they seem to congregate together.
Okay.
Will swoop the whole land. And when you said they migrate, since they're nocturnal, will they migrate nocturnally?
At night.
No, I've never seen them.
Never seen migrating.
Right.
Right.
These bat houses,
Mhm.
they would be more adaptable for the tree bats than the other bats?
Well, both, because I mentioned that the cave bats in the summer months are also using cavities like this. And just for the winter purpose, in winter, they're using the caves for hibernation. So, in New York State, the ones you're going to find in the bat houses are the little brown bats, the most common. and the big brown bats. We use the bat houses. So.
Is New York State doing anything to promote the increase in bats by, say, putting shelters like that under railroad bridges or highway overpasses, or, is there a program to actively increase the number of bats?
Not that I know of. I mean, we do sell a lot of these at our center. We have them on display, we have a bat exhibit, and we have kits in our office. We do bat programs, like this, and we also do a general public program at our center. But as far as an organized project, that might be something, coming down the line if we still continue to see this decline.
Now, this bat home, is there a particular dimension that they like a bluebird likes a
Right.
specific dimension, and the hole's got to be just a certain diameter?
Yep. I know what you mean. You can find bat box instructions online. You can find them from various different sources, various different sizes. I think the bats are going to prefer anything because they will, they're finding kind of unique shapes in the wild. So, kind of random shapes there. So I do have instructions. These are just the ones that we use. They're not necessarily, the best ones. I mean, these are pretty good. People do have luck with them. But I think, you can find instructions and it'll work for you. But it may take a little while to get the bats. It might take a year or two before you see any bats using the homes. They have to actually find it. Yep. Same thing with bluebird houses or any kind of birdhouse you put up. You might not have luck right away. It might take a little while for them to actually, flit around and fly and find it. So.
Just have to show bat and one in the sky, the tracking.
Put a giant mosquito on it.
You have to clean it?
Nope.
No, they don't.
Nope.
Rabbits.
Nope. I mean, yeah, it's, because it hangs just like this. So any guano that's built up in there is going to fall out. And there's nothing in there. So it's just they are able to cling on to the sides here than this rough cut wood. And that's fine. Right. Yep. This is rough cut here. So
Fill them up and send them to the Cicero swamps, they'll get so
Yeah,
low.
that's what somebody said. Yeah. Yep.
Right, that's a good question. Many of us are combating cluster flies. We have our houses sprayed with something. And I'm wondering if this hurts the bats, if they then imbibe some of our flies who have got the poison.
Right. Well, like any insecticide, any pesticide, it bioaccumulates in the animal. So if you think about how many insects a bat can eat a night, if all those insects have that pesticide or the insecticide, it's going to accumulate in the bat. That many fold. So it's bioaccumulation is definitely a term that's
They're not going to eat something that's already dead. They only eat what they catch on the way.
Right. Yep. In flight. So, but even if there's a little bit in the animal, and it's not enough to kill them, but they're carrying it or they've ingested it, they can still accumulate that.
Would the tree bats roost in groups, like family groups, or that the same night after night, or would it just be happenstance and was it happen to go in?
Well, if they find a suitable location, they will. They'll come back to it. Yeah, the tree bats and cave bats will. So, and if they find it and they're happy, they're safe and warm, they come back to it. So. Any other questions?
Yeah, in the process of evolution, a bat is a mammal. What other mammals is it most closely related to on Earth? In other words, what is its closest relative?
Yep. They're very closely related to primates in the sense that they have the thumb and the four fingers. So primates, humans, that's closest relative. I'm not positive on that. So. that's what I had for you tonight. So hopefully it answered some questions. I did a little bit of research. Good. I do
Why do
have.
they get such a bad reputation?
I think, well, if you think about some of the old movies, they show bat flying into women's hairdos, vampire bats. I mean, they have sharp teeth, yeah, but they're certainly not attacking human beings. Like I said, you know, they have this echolocation that they're avoiding humans as much as we want to avoid them, and any objects. And I just think because of what they look like, they're a flying animal with teeth. You know, I think, you know, media and movies can have fun with that.
What's the best way to, when they come in your house,
Mm-hmm.
and you're like, okay, don't really want you in here. What is the best way to get them?
So when they're flying around? Yeah, well, if you want to hopefully keep them alive, a net would be the best way to do it. A net, a broom, you can stun them, knock them down and stun them, and put a bucket over them. And then what works is if you put the bucket on top of them, and if you slide a piece of cardboard underneath the bucket, so you're capping the bucket, you can flip it over and then shoot outside like that.
We did that with a tennis racket in our son's bedroom years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Against the wall, we put a tennis racket and then a piece of paper between the wall and the tennis racket.
Yep.
And this way we got it out.
Yeah, we did that. Works well with bees, with anything in your house that you want to keep in your house and not kill. Just take a little plastic cup or some kind of a device and slide a piece of paper under it and remove it that way.
One other question. On occasion, you hear about rabies. Some bats have been tested for rabies. How do they get rabies? What causes?
Rabies is a virus. So,
What's the conduit?
right.
Do we know how raccoons get it, for example, or?
Oh, yeah, they bite each other or something.
Right, something, an infected animal bites them.
So if they get sick, maybe they bite each other.
Yeah, but maybe a raccoon tried to bite a bat and it got away.
I'm not sure how it's described.
Insect, like the mosquitoes, we bite the animals.
Mhm.
And then like you have that virus in them after, biting a fox or a raccoon or something.
It
and
could.
then
Carrying the blood with it, yeah, and the bat ingesting it.
Yeah,
Yep. I don't want to say for sure because I don't know, so.
it's a possibility.
It's a possibility.
What predators do they have?
Around here, owls, raccoons, let's see. Owls, raccoons, what else do they have? Snakes and house cats are the two bigger ones. Yep. So,
Would snakes get them in the box during the day?
they could, I mean, snakes climb trees, they're able to slither up trees. The smooth green snake around here is an excellent, you'll find them in trees, so they could slither up there. Yep.
Not have to be a very big snake, go around.
Well, not necessarily. The smooth green snake that we have here is about 2 feet long or so, and they're good climbers, so they're able to do it.
We should have brought more boxes, I would have bought more.
Wow.
Do you sell them?
We do. We do for $10 a box. Yeah, already assembled, or we have the kit, so you could assemble them yourself. So.
Now, let me ask you a question. I read this someplace, and it seems almost impossible to believe. Imagine a cave with thousands of bats hanging on the ceiling. and the bat has its pup there, and it goes off to feed and comes back, and in this huge cave with thousands of other bats, it finds its pup. Is this true?
It does, yep, it can sense, like I said, the females roost together, nursery roosts, and they know which one is theirs. So they're able to, I'm not sure
How
how,
do they
but they
know that?
can. I don't know, but that is true. Yep, yep, instincts, right, with the penguins.
Seals too.
Yep. I don't know if it's a sense of smell or a pheromone, a hormone. So, well, I hope I answered your questions. You know, I hope this was information that was useful to you. I couldn't answer all the questions. I tried. I'm not the bat expert. I'd be happy to get back with you, though, if you really want me to research a question. So there are definitely experts in the field, experts, the DEC. Al Hicks is a resident bat expert out of Albany. He could answer any question.
Well, thank you, Amy. This is
Yeah.
very good.
Good.
We got some great refreshments again, right? Yes, we do. And, you know, hang around, talk, maybe ask some more questions, and get some more answers.
Life